Welcome to the Whitetail Legacy Podcast.
We're all set up here down this creek bottom. Bean Buck's been in here a bunch of times, so good chance to see it on him.
Meh. Smoked him. I think he just crashed, bro. Absolute money, dude. It's 76 degrees out. We just set up 80 yards from a buck and killed him at 18 yards.
Here we are. We're set up on this creek that's been absolute fire for the last 8 days. We know a shooter went in here to bed this morning.
Meh.
Smoked his ass tonight.
You get it? That was at 8, dude. That's at 8.
Bucked out October 28th. Homie's up for the rest of November. But absolute incredible season. Both kills on hanging hunts, right on the beds, and just making it happen.
Welcome to the Whitetail Legacy Podcast, coming in your ear holes, and it is a new year. It is 2023, the first episode of the 2023 podcast game, and I'm already lining out the details for the year. First, I'm going to give back to some people that I became friends with this year and have them on. Then I'm going to get back into the Going Back to the Basics series, which I'm already recording those podcasts, and I'm really enjoying the way these are going out, and this is going to be a really beneficial series for this off season. Keep your mind in the game, and maybe you'll learn some new stuff and be able to prepare better for next year. Today's episode, we're talking with Tony from 33OH Archery. We're talking about bow maintenance, bowstring maintenance, some stuff you can do that I didn't even know about to make your bowstrings last longer, to help make your bow last longer. And then we also get into some off-the-wall topics, our opinion on stuff, and kind of go through just a BS session there. But the main focus of this is, what the benefit of getting a custom string is, and then some bow maintenance things you can do throughout the year to help your strings last longer and your bow last longer. Let's get into people that make this possible, get into the show. Starting off this year, just coming at you with the Exodus outdoor gear, guys. If you guys are in the market looking for a new cell cam, hold out. If you're looking to stock up for next year, hold out. Exodus has got one on coming out very, very soon. And I'm really excited about it. Definitely going to get a few of these in the arsenal. The Rival, and that's kind of a hint of what it might be. But they're also coming out with another SD card cam in the next few months. And they're bringing out some more arrow options as well, some micro diameter arrows. So make sure and sign up for their newsletter. Check out their website and get the intel of this new stuff coming out. If you're on social, follow their Instagram. That's where you're going to get the newsletter be first, then it'll be Instagram, and then it'll be website. So if you want to get the news first, make sure and follow that. Also, Afflicted Broadheads. If you guys are running low on broadheads, looking for the deal, this is when the broadheads go on sale here. They're coming out with their new stuff. I'm still going to shoot that K2 fix going into next year. I'm going to shoot it at turkeys and anything else I can get close to if I get any hunts lined up. Not exactly sure what my spring is going to look like, but definitely will be turkey hunting. So might jot down to Missouri for a turkey hunt. Not exactly sure on that yet, but if you're in the market for broadheads, check out afflictorbroadheads.com. All right, guys, let's get into this episode with Tony, learn a little bit more about bowstrings. All right, guys. Well, I got Tony from 33OH Archery on. How you doing tonight, brother?
Doing great, man. Thanks a lot for having me. I appreciate you.
Yeah, I appreciate you coming on, man. A kind of a different setup for a podcast for me in my area that I got going on right now, but I'm making it happen. I said I was going to be here. We're going to make it happen no matter what the good Lord throws at us with this snowstorm we got going on. Man, it's cold out there, but I I wanted to have you on this time of year because I feel like this is when, like we had mentioned, not the best time for people to do what your business does, but it's when a lot of people start thinking about it.
Sure.
So I wanted to get it out there on the airwaves. Also wanted to have you on towards the end of the year here, just give you a big thank you for helping out the podcast this year and running some ads. Greatly appreciate that. Anything to help cover the cost and put a little. I'm really proud to say this, and I haven't been able to say that. I haven't said this on the podcast yet. I'm going to take my family on a vacation this year on the podcast.
Look at you.
Yeah, so
good for you. Where are you going?
I think we're going to go Great Lakes for about 4 days
Nice.
on the beach, rent a house. I'm going to try to
What
keep
I'm
it
talking
about
about.
that 12 to 1,400 range. That's what I'm comfortable
Sure.
with doing. But it's really cool. I told my wife, I said, hey, this year podcast is going to pay for a vacation. And she's been watching me do this for 5+ years
Absolutely.
with pretty much nothing in return. So it was really cool. I said, hey, I'm going to take you and the family. We're going to do a full vacation. And it might not pay for all of it, but it will definitely pay for a substantial amount of it. And she thought that was really
Sure.
cool. And actually seeing some of the value of me going out to my garage so many times during the week to do this stuff. But
you know what's crazy? How much easier is it for you to do what you're passionate about and do what you love when you have a spouse at home that supports you?
Oh yeah, that's huge.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, if my wife, if this was like a pain in the ass for her to let me do this, it would be very, very hard to get it done every week. Because for some reason, it seems like, man, I got to record a podcast and there's 73 other things that need to be done the same night that I'm going to record this. Like we planned this the day before, and she's like, well. She's like, is there any way you can move it? Because I got to go. I need to finish my Christmas shop. I'm like, what? It's like 4 days from Christmas. Like I know how much you've spent already. You should have been done a long time ago. Well, I need to get 2 more things, and really seal the deal. I think we needed some tractors. I think that's what she went to get. Tractors ended up. She got home at 10:45 last night. She was like, "Well, Kohl's was open till midnight." I'm like, "What?" I'm like, "What?"
So much for 2 things, huh?
Yeah. Oh yeah. She's with her mom, my mother-in-law. Awesome lady.
Nice.
Loves to shop. So, the crazy thing about her and my wife, though, they love to shop, but they don't ever buy anything for themselves. It's always they're shopping to buy something for someone else. It's crazy.
Yeah, that's the character inside them, though.
Yeah. Yeah, they're always
it's so much better. They love what it's like when somebody else gets excited about what they get.
Yeah. So I can't say much. They're not out there buying Coach purses or something. They're out there buying something for the kids or something for Grandpa.
Yeah.
Or they got a blanket for Grandma and printing off Christmas cards and stuff. So, but enough about what I got going on. Go ahead and introduce yourself to the listeners, and we'll get into this.
Sure. So, my name is Tony Sangelosi. I am the owner of 33OH Archery, and I'm from Youngstown, Ohio. Born and raised in Northeast Ohio. I actually bought a house a quarter mile from where I grew up. Love sports, man. Grew up playing baseball my whole life, and till I met my wife, and then got married. We have 2 kids. I work in the tire industry, actually. For a 9-to-5 job, and kind of like everybody else, right? You fall in love with something, you develop a passion, which was hunting, and this bowstring company was never even a thought. I love deer, I love archery in general, and it was on a whim that this even came about. Man, I called to order my strings, and the guy I was talking to said, hey, it's probably going to be the last order. I'm looking to get out of the business. You should buy it. And I was like, okay. I don't really know about strings too much, but I'm a tinker, I love building arrows. I work on everybody's bows. There's always a guy in the group, right, of hunters that's can fix their bows, right? I was always that person. So came home and talked to my wife, and I said, hey, what do you think about doing this? And, just as I had spoke on your wife, mine's always been super supportive on anything that I've wanted to do. And I told her the price, which was, it's not just pocket change, And she said, let's do it. And I said, what? She said, let's do it. I said, oh, okay. And I was expecting her to say, like, nah, you're crazy. Like, we already have so much going on because I teach martial arts during the week. Plus we have, one daughter in freshman year of college. The other one's a sophomore. So we're very busy. But she said, let's do it. Like, you're passionate about this. I'm sold on it. We don't have to go take out a loan. Let's do it. So, and we did it, and it's been such a blessing, man. My favorite part, it's not just the business end of it, because that's fun too. I love building strings, but my favorite part of this whole thing is the people that I get to meet. The guys that get to come over to my house and talk hunting, trading trail cam pictures, hearing from them when they finally put their first deer down or their first buck with my strings. That is the most rewarding thing to me. That I never really thought about that part of it. I thought about, hey, I just want to do something with the passion of mine. But man, it's so nice to just know that I have just a little piece in their memory that they'll remember the rest of their lives.
Yeah, that's something that I didn't really think about as well when you start a brand. I think it's like people are okay with reaching out with you because you are a brand. You kind of open the door for that community to start. And something like when you said you don't really realize, but if you're just some random guy from Ohio, someone's not going to message you and really talk to you. But if you're, Tony that owns this bowstring company, then it kind of opens up the door where they have kind of an opening topic to talk to you about and start that relationship, and then it just grows from there. Just like I said, the amount of people that I know personally or talk to weekly is just insane because of the podcast. And the only reason I have social media at this point is because of the podcast and these people that I've met. And just get to keep up on. A good buddy of mine named Thor from Georgia messaged me today and said, hey, about to go see he's having his first kid, about to go see the kid on the sonogram for the first time. And I tell him, I'm like, cool. Dude, that's an awesome experience. Make sure and soak it in and enjoy it. And you wouldn't get that text message if I didn't have that podcast. You wouldn't get that being able to just tell him that, say, hey, just enjoy this moment. It seems really small, but it's really cool once you think about it, afterwards. So
you're 100% right.
Opens up a lot of doors.
It really does. And, I've got to meet some really, really cool people, people that I've looked up to, that, I have a great relationship now. And, some of the, the business transactions, we'll call them, have turned into emotional transactions almost now because you're friends with these people, right? I catch myself, just like you said, talking to people throughout the day or planning hunts in the future. And man, this community, when you find the solid people within this community, it's badass, man. It really is. And the reason why I say that, and it doesn't matter what you do, it doesn't matter if you're a doctor or a police officer, if you work on the railroad, if you are a teacher, you're always going to have that person, right? That's going to make a stupid decision and is going to make everybody else look bad. And now that is the perception of that demographic, right? And I heard a quote on a podcast before. We are awarded, and we are the reason we are allowed to hunt is because of the people who don't hunt, because the people who don't hunt outweigh the hunters, right? So, it's important that more than ever that we stay ethical, that we make the right decision, that we don't say, oh, well, I shot a small buck, so I'm gonna tag another bigger buck under my wife's name. It's important that we don't make decisions like this, so we continue to, so hunters are known in the right way.
Yeah, I agree. There's always someone that kind of ruins it or gets on a soapbox. There's nothing wrong with getting on a soapbox as long as it's the right soapbox.
Amen.
Not trying to put people, don't get on a soapbox of putting people down. And I think there for a while in the industry there was a lot of I'm going to be the next great big hunter. I'm going to have the best brand. And I think a lot of those guys have tried it and failed, and now it's kind of slowly going back to most of the people in it are solid. But there was a stretch there, man. It was pretty rough. There was a lot of and it was kind of during my eye-opening stages of having something in the industry, and people, they want to work with you, but they want to work with you they want to be associated with you, but they don't want to be associated with you other than you using their stuff with nothing. It's not even good stuff. It's not even like you enjoy this stuff. They just, hey, just use this stuff, and you're like, what? You just get, like, I've had boxes of just like scent killer spray, not going to name the brand, just show up at my address. I'm like, and they're like wanting me to make a post or share something about this, and I'm just like, I don't use this stuff. Like, I'm not gonna say, oh yeah, this is it, So it's definitely, I think maybe it was just my eye-opening stage that it seemed bad, and now I can weed them out right away. Like, I can see through the bullshit. So
another thing that I think that is really important on that, kind of on this topic, is, the only way that we combat the bad when it comes to the reputation of hunters, right? If there's somebody who makes a mistake and it's on film, and for some reason it gets uploaded and PETA or one of these other organizations get a hold of it, the only way that we combat that is to continue to produce content in the proper way. That will get drowned out. If people can continually see that this community is good, and this community spent a ton of money for conservation, and these hunters are about getting new hunters in the woods and creating memories, and they're not just a bunch of killers. The more content positive wise that we can put out there, the more that we're going to combat that. We're never going to get away from it, but man, with social media being like it is now, it is so important. I don't care if it's your first hunt and you have no followers yet, man, put some good content out there. And it's not that you have to be the next Drury or, somebody like that, but as much good content as we can put out there, I think we're going to be, even in better shape in the future when it comes to hunting.
I 100% agree. And like you said, even if you don't have a lot of followers, sometimes affecting one person, you infect 10 people because they tell your friends, then they decide to make better decisions, or they decide to hunt more ethically or do the right thing. That's my thing. It's kind of a
100%.
vague way of saying a whole bunch of stuff without drawing stuff out, and that's why I kind of picked that slogan. There's a lot of different ways to do the right thing, but it's always the right thing. So even if you have, that's why I've always been big on, like, hey, you got a podcast or something and you got a YouTube page, you want some, you want any info on what I did or where I'm at, just ask me, dude, because I'm here to help. I've never wanted to been one of those guys that's like, oh, there's too many podcasters or there's too many. I worked hard for this, so I'm not going to tell you. The only thing I do kind of hold back on is I don't like to drag companies through the mud, and I've worked with some companies in the industry, and I know the people that work for them. I know I've been with them, like, not in hours, like after hour stuff. Seeing the way they talk to, like, their pro staff and stuff, and it's just not right, not the right way to go. And then I've seen companies that have it, and they have, a pro staff or a staff, and they're just like a big family, and it makes the company better. It makes the people that are associated with the company better. And that's the way to do it. Yeah, that's the way it's supposed to be. But so, you said you weren't supposed to be in, the string company. Kind of come out of shock, but it's something that you're already passionate about. So you've been doing it for a while now. So what's some of the biggest things that you think you've learned over the time that you've been doing it?
I think that the biggest thing that I've learned is when it comes to custom bowstrings, that there is a big difference than the strings that come off a bow from the factory. And it's purely defined as this. it's not the same material. Now, in some cases, there are some bows that use that same material, but the benefit where you come into a custom string is this, and I'm just going to kind of go over a couple of them if you don't mind. But obviously, material versus material, right? Anything that you build, it doesn't matter if it's a man-made string or some of these bigger bow companies, they're all built on machines now, right? So it's better material versus less quality of material, right? The performance, when you have a less quality material, your bow will not be as efficient as it needs to be, and it will not hold time as long as it should. The customer service end, the whole reason why I even thought about this, besides that coming to me, is when my wife and I were talking about this, I happened to have an issue in the past that I thought about with a string. And I bought the string, and I'll never throw the company under the bus because that's not who I am. And I actually have a relationship with them now. So no reason for that. However, I ordered a set of strings, got them put on my bow. I had a terrible amount of peak twist. And even at a restaurant, I'm not that like griper. Normally I'll just deal with it because I know that people are busy. I know that people try as hard as they can to do the best they can at whatever they do in most cases. But this was something that even putting twists in my string would not straighten out. So got a hold of the company and I said, hey, I've been running your strings for a very long time. This is the first time I've ever had a problem with them, blah, blah, blah. It took this correspondence, it took probably 2 weeks to finally get to somebody. And then after I got to somebody, they told me that it was a 4-week wait on getting my string. And for me, I've already spent the money with you. There was a defect in the product. I should jump in front of the line, in my opinion. I know that they're backed up on orders, but that's been the biggest benefit is, or one of the biggest things that I've noticed, I'm a human. I'm going to make errors from time to time. But when that phone rings, you're going to get me right away. You talk to me every single time that you call. It's me or my wife. And every single message I respond to, it's me. You're not going to be able to message some of the bow companies and say, hey, there's an issue with my string. Can I talk to the builder? First of all, in most cases, it's going to be a machine. Other than that, you're not going to get that level of quality service. Past that, what a lot of people don't realize is knock fit is so important. Your bow can be in perfect time. Both cams are turning over at the same time. Your arrow is built with absolute precision. And then you slam that knock on a tight center serving, and that arrow doesn't want to come off there, and you shoot that sucker, you're going to get inconsistencies to the fullest extent. So being able to call me and say, hey, I'm running a 166 arrow with a blah, blah, blah knock. Cool. I already know what to build your center serving at, right? So that takes that right out of there, which goes into your accuracy, right? And then turnaround time and customization. I mean, I make sure that as many orders as I have that come in throughout the week, I don't care how late I have to stay up. These strings are going to be shipped within the week. And then the customization that comes with it, right? So whether you want a twist, whether you want dual color, single color, etc. So I know that was a lot, but those are the things that I've really discovered that I really, really like and that are super important.
Yeah, that was good, man. I actually learned about that knock fit from the Exodus podcast when they were going over. It's something that you don't really think about until you learn, from a guy like you. So if a guy's trying to have, the best shooting bow and he's got all this money, he bought these arrows, that he's trying to get the best shooting, and then like you said, he has an improper knock fit, or he has a factory string that's twisting the peep. I had that happen to me a little bit this year where my peep was twisting. It's annoying, it don't do it every time, but you're like, man, when this happens, it's gonna be when I draw back on a nice buck, and it's gonna be in that moment, and you're gonna have to alter the way you shoot to get to the peep. But
dude, that happened to me one time too. I was dealing with it and I settled for it. I knew it was happening, and I'm just like, oh, whatever. So normally I would knock my arrow, I'd put my release on the bow, and I would put some tension on it and only hold it with the hand of my releases on, and then take my other hand and twist it, right? And now it's good. But I forgot to do that, and I drew back on a deer one time, and the dang thing was turned sideways. I had to let down. Well, I mean, it was a doe, and I did kill her, but it was super annoying. I had to let down, twist it back the other way, draw again, and it was over bait, so she was really just concerned about eating. But had that been a buck, and it was, early season or whatever, and there was no food there, and he was just browsing or cruising by, I wouldn't have got another shot on that, ever.
Yeah, for sure. Definitely something that people, don't think about happening. And I've noticed when, you get a new bow, it seems like that second, third year is when you really start to have some problems with that string. It starts to twist. Yeah. It starts to the draw length might feel a little different, a little longer than it did before. So
can I interrupt?
Yeah, go ahead.
Sorry. So here's what I want to tell everybody when it comes to first, second, third year with a bow. So some people get bows every single year. Some people keep bows for 5, 6, 7, 8 years. I probably have 8 bows in my basement that are probably from the 90s. That eventually we're going to end up rebuilding. We're going to gift and kind of go from there. But and other string companies may agree, other string companies may disagree. I recommend that you change your string every single year. And here's why. Not because that they're going to fray or fuzz or anything like that. You got to remember that our bows are at a constant tension 100% of the time. No matter what material is built in, like the 452X is 67%, Dyneema 33%, Vectran, and some of this material is, it's stronger than steel cable, right? But any high performance vehicle that you have, right, and you keep it for a long time, you change the oil, right? It's maintenance. They call scheduled maintenance because if you don't do it, it schedules itself, right? So there's no way that you should, in my opinion, have a $2,000 bow that you're not maintaining, right? You're not storing the right way. You're not upkeep. Look at it as your tune-up, right? Before you take your car out of the garage over winter and into the spring. So I'm not saying this because I want you to buy strings from me or I want to sell you more strings. And if you go somewhere else, you go somewhere else. That's okay too. But that is a very high performance piece of equipment you have. It is important that you have the best material on there at all times.
Yeah, I always look at those those new, like the crossbows that the cams are like 8 inches apart. I'm like, the amount of pressure that's on those strings are like
scary.
Is just insane to me. Like, I look at that thing and I'm like, especially the ones that go backwards. The ones that
the reverse,
those things
trip
me out. Those things trip me out, dude. I'm like, I don't even know, because you're putting reverse, two types of tension.
Foot per second.
You're putting 2 different types of tension on the same string at the same time. I'm just like, I don't understand how these things are holding. But that's definitely.
I have a controversial question for you.
Yeah.
Do you? And this may cause some riffraff when you get some comments about this.
Oh, that's all right.
And just remember that I'm just asking the question. I don't necessarily believe or not believe in this, but being that what high performance crossbows are out there right now, right? There are scopes that automatically can judge your distance for you. There are crossbows that can shoot over 100 yards accurately. Do you feel that crossbows should be in gun season or have their own season? Or do you feel that the crossbows still belong to be in the archery season, even though they're not shooting just 200, 300, 350, 400 foot per second now? These things are up. These are $5,000 crossbows that people offer now that shoot very, very fast.
So I have probably a longer answer than what you're going to think.
No, I love it.
I've almost thought about doing a podcast about this a couple times because I kind of have a different opinion than a lot of people do on the whole crossbow debate. Now, do I think that they should be entitled for the full length of the bow season? The short answer is no. But let me tell you some reasons why I'm okay with them being there. When Illinois first introduced the crossbow, I can't remember what year it was. It was don't quote me on this. I want to say it's 2014ish. That they said, hey, okay, part of crossbow we're going to let you use, or part of bow season we're going to let you use crossbow. And I believe it was after Thanksgiving weekend you could utilize a crossbow for the rest of archery season. And I'm thinking, okay, that's cool, you know. It's still a long season for them. It's another option to get more people into hunting. And it's later in the year where, you know, less people are going to be hunting anyways, so it's not going to make a giant impact. Then they opened it up full-length year. And I thought it was going to make a drastic impact on the amount of deer killed during archery season, and you know, for the total year. And this is what I've seen happen after the multiple years of this being. So, gun season around here used to be every single day. If you hunted, you were gun hunting, and you were gun hunting all day, and you were killing something. Now, since a lot of those gun hunters have got a crossbow, the gun season is softer. The gun hunters are shooting bigger deer because they've already probably killed a deer with a crossbow. They feel like they have more time than just that gun season. So I don't believe that the crossbow should be entitled to a full season, but I don't think they've made as drastic of an impact as people think, because I'll drive around gun season and there's just nobody gun hunting. Like, compared to what it was 5, 6, 7, 8 years ago, probably half of the amount of trucks and people and just the orange that I see out in the woods.
Yeah.
And it seems like, I mean, this year the gun numbers were a little higher because we had incredible weather, like insane weather. But the gun numbers haven't been as high as they've been back before the crossbows were legal. So I feel like people are kind of like, you know, I still got all season with the crossbow. I don't need to kill something with a gun. And they don't want to make that step to the bow hunter. So I think it's made an impact, but the impact's been stretched out and softened a little bit of gun season. So that's the long answer. I don't believe that they should have the whole entire bow season. I don't believe that they're actually archery equipment per se. But I don't think it's made as big as impact as people thought it was going to be. Because when they were made legal, man, the uproar, even from just the people that I knew, were insane. And now some of the people that were complaining about them are using crossbows.
Yeah, so I'm reading an article right now. It said, this is Illinois' 2017 hunting rule change. Illinois law previously allowed the use of crossbows for archery hunting only by persons 62 or older and those with disabilities who qualify, and then it cuts out, dang it, and then qualify, where's it at? 62 of age who qualified for a crossbow permit issued by the Illinois Department of Natural Resources. In addition, the previous law allowed certain youth hunters to use crossbows and allowed all archery hunters to use crossbows beginning the Monday after the second firearm season.
Yeah, so that's after Thanksgiving. Yep. So that was the previous law.
2017. Yep.
2017. So yeah. So I was a few years off there, but that used to be.
No, you were right on.
Yeah, that used to be the law there, and I like that. Like, I hunted a lot of public land back then because I didn't really know anybody, and I really didn't see an uptick of people, but it was kind of like an oddity. Like, oh, you can only use it, you know, at the end of the year, and it didn't really make a big enough effect. I think the big problem with Illinois and the DNR's way of understanding stuff is supposedly they look at traffic collisions per deer number, and you know that's how many tags you're going to give out. That's because they opened the single shot rifle certain cartridges for next year. So they're always trying to open up something to get more people engaged and get them hunting. But where a lot of these collisions are happening is areas where there's not a lot of hunters, but there's a lot of deer. Suburban areas, places you can't hunt. Like, for example, like the Quad City area. They give out tags, but there is just an astronomical amount of deer, like insane amounts of deer. We have a property, an urban property that I hunt closer to my place. You have to own a lot or own property there to hunt, and there's only certain lots you can hunt, and it's nothing in October to go set out there and see 18 to 25 does.
Amazing.
I mean, there's just so many deer. You have to kill a doe before you can kill a buck. You can only kill one buck a year. There's a lot of rules, but that's where a lot of these accidents are happening, where you got this really high deer density area and not a lot of hunters. And then you got these rural areas where the hunters are, and the deer population is lower because there's more hunters there. And then there's less car collisions. So it's just a revolving door of a hard way to get it correct because there's so many variables in their job, But I will say this. I'm from Illinois, and it is not to offend any game warden or anybody in that industry that listens to this, but it is the junkest place I've ever been for anything categorized in that. Like, my county hasn't had a game warden for a couple years. Like, the whole entire county.
That's wild.
Yeah, and like say you see someone on the lake and, man, they got a stringer of 35 crappie. And you call it in. Well, what's the guy got to do? Come from Springfield up here to pop this guy? Like, and people know it, so they're like, they're stretch the rules a little bit, because they're like, well, there's not even one in the county. I've hunted public land for oodles and gobbles of years, multiple different ones, dove hunting, coon hunting, coyote hunting, turkey hunting, deer hunting. I've been stopped twice that I could remember since I've lived in Illinois. And once was dove hunting, and the other one was deer hunting late season, and the guy drove his field into the cornfield that I was sitting over. Drove his truck all the way out there.
What?
Yeah. 2 hours before sunset, I'm out there hunting, and he drove his truck out to that field and checked my tags.
That's wild.
He's like, I was just following your footprints in the snow, and I
didn't want to walk anymore.
Well, I was driving out here, I was just following your footprints, and I'm like in the stand, like, who in the hell is driving out here about ready to rip somebody's ass, And it's a game warden. I'm like, oh, okay, cool. Like,
I'm sure you saw a lot of deer the rest of the evening.
No, I didn't see anything.
Couldn't have waited till you got out?
Yeah, no, I didn't have time for that. He's probably wanting to get home because he lived an hour and a half away, But like I said, they just – and then you go to Missouri, and you see them all over the place. And then they have the CWD check-in station. You go there, there's like 15, 20 people working that all work for, the conservation department per county.
That's so cool.
Per area. You go to check your deer in for CWD, and there's 15, 20 people working that. They got 8 different stations, and you're in and out of there in 20 minutes. Like, if Illinois did that, it would take 7 hours. Like, it'd be tragic. It's just not good. But we kind of went on a tangent there. But Illinois finally redid their website though. So that used to basically have the dial-up internet website of the conservation department for Illinois. It was terrible. You couldn't buy any license online. Nothing. I'm like, you guys need to get your shit together over here.
Tighten up.
They finally got that.
Tighten up. I got one more question to ask you. I hate to take over the podcast.
Oh, no.
It can be just a quick yes or no.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on states that are more than a $1 state?
I like it, to be honest with you.
You do?
Why? The only thing one thing I think they should change is a $1 rule for out-of-staters.
Or
I think that
so
would
the
help.
only here's my only thought behind that is somebody can easily take a spike or a fork, right? Oh, I still got one more buck tag left, right? And now they Now they save it, right? Where at least if you're going to have more than a $1 tag, at least have a time limit.
Yeah.
Like, got to be a 6 or above, or
yeah.
outside, whatever.
I could see
Because
that
if not,
helping. I just
like
live.
Ohio's a $1 state, and it's one of the reasons why people love to come to Ohio. There's big deer here. There's a ton of ag here. It's a $1 state. You live here or you don't. And I was curious your thoughts.
Yeah, I know Iowa's a $1 state, but it's actually not a $1 state, which is weird. Like if you're a landowner, you could shoot $3. Like there's a lot of rules that are weird.
That's awesome.
But I don't mind the $2 just because I utilize it a lot. A lot of seasons I shoot a buck and then I shoot a good buck and then I'm after like a monster.
Great one. If that was happened all the time, that happened.
That happened with everybody, but there is a lot of younger class deer that get shot because of the $2 rule. They're like, well, I got $2 tags. I'll shoot one, get some meat in the freezer, and then I'll hold out for something decent. What a lot of people do around here is the farm tag game is ridiculous. Like the farm
nuisance tags?
No, just like you can get the farm tags in Illinois for a landowner. Like a lot of these farmers, they own thousands of acres. So they'll get 20 tags.
And then what do? They sell them?
Well, a lot of times people are using that tag that's not the landowner.
Oh, got it. Okay. So a farmer can say, here, you can have one of my tags for
but see, that's not legal.
Yeah,
that's not legal.
Well, I'm sure it's not legal, but I'm sure that's happening.
Yeah,
right?
I'm sure it's happening for sure. But that is an issue that I see. I understand you own land. That's badass. You could kill your deer, but I mean, getting that many tags, that's kind of crazy.
Yeah.
But I mean, they could still only kill $2, but a lot of them. Well, they get $2 tags. Their wife gets $2 tags. So they're threading the needle a little bit over there.
Sure.
But getting back into the bowstring, this is
man.
Oh no, this is good. I love it. I love these kind of podcasts where we just tangent and rip, and so do the listeners. They love that too, because now they're all thinking what their answers are and whether I'm wrong or right.
Yep.
They're either like, screw this guy.
That's why I asked you. That's why I asked you the question.
They're either like, screw this guy, or they're like, yes, that's a good point. They're on two sides of the spectrum right there. But
they're gonna be rolling in, I'm sure.
But getting back to the bowstrings, this is the time of year where a lot of people, they're hanging up their bow or they're getting dang close to hanging up their bow towards the end of the season, and they're probably looking at a new string. And what is just some of the stuff that they should really look for if they're going to purchase a string, whether it be from you or from someone else? What are the key things to know that you're getting into a quality string?
Yeah. So some of this, we'll talk about. If you don't mind, after this, I want to talk about kind of a little bit about bowstring maintenance, right?
Yeah.
Because I think that's important, especially if you're not a long you don't shoot all year round like we all should. But material is going to be key. There are so many different materials out there now. BCY has been the staple of fiber for as long as I've been around shooting. What we use is, like I said, it's 452X. It's what every bowstring is compared to. So, there are claims, there are some better than it. There are claims that, it is the best. I think it's preference for some, but there's also facts for another. The other piece to that is make sure that you can talk to whoever you're going to buy the strings from. Don't just buy the strings. This is fiber that is going to go on a huge investment of yours. Ask questions. If somebody's not responding to you, that's a red flag. Regardless if they're big and they have a customer service department, or they're a mom and pop shop like myself who will pick up the phone every time that you call. But ask as many questions as you can. And if you don't know what you're doing, that's okay too. If you've never ordered a set of strings before, just call. I guarantee you we'll end up talking on the phone for 30 minutes about everything else, and then we'll get to the end about the strings. And then, ask about turnaround time, ask about how to maintain them. Again, our bow is under an extreme amount of tension at all time, and I think that people always get wrapped up in the arrows, the sight, the rest, the release, the broadhead, the fletchings, the wraps, and we don't talk about the thing that makes this move, right? So hopefully those are some tips that people can take to the bank.
All right, that's good. And go ahead and get, like you said, you wanted to touch on the maintenance. That's something that I think everybody should need to know, because I'm probably doing it wrong, and I've been hunting for a long time. So I'm interested to hear this.
Yeah. So first, I think that the most important thing that you can do for your bow is inspect it. And I'm not saying that you have to grab a magnifying glass, but if you hear some noise, there's something going on. I think that before you put it away, it's really important that one, if you can put it in if you can just throw it in your basement in a case instead of leaving it in your garage, getting hot, cold, hot, cold, hot, cold, do that first. But look over the string, look over the cable, see if you have any cuts or abnormal wear, see if you have any fraying, and then, like I said before, store it in a temperature controlled location. And that will not only help with your string, but that's going to help with all the other moving parts on your bow. Excuse me. If you don't shoot a lot in the off season, one of the big things that I do with my bows every year, so most people will wax their string, and that's great. But to take it a step further is take the tension off of your string. If you have a press at home, if you have an archery shop near you, have them press the bow, then wax it. Not only will it keep your strands together, but it works that wax inside of your string bundle a lot better than if you just rub it on the outside, which is what basically I'm going to say 90 whatever % of people that actually do. But press it, take the tension off, and and that was me for the longest time too, yet, right? And then just the final piece is, again, you don't have to buy from me. It's okay. I won't get my feelings hurt. I hope you do, but we recommend that you replace them every year. Again, not just because it's bad, but just because the strings are ready to be replaced, but more as the maintenance piece to your bow. That you'll see your bow perform and continually perform at a very high level if you keep good strings on them.
Yeah, that's, like I said, I probably need to be better about keeping it in kind of a good environment in the off season, because like a lot of times it's up, in my studio, my garage, and it gets hella cold out there and warm in the summertime. So I probably should find a new spot because that's the main thing. Like we spend so much money on these bows. That's like a gigantic investment. It's so
ton,
big.
Man. These bows are $2,000 bare.
Yeah, it's especially for like normal guys. Like, I mean, that is just insane amounts of money to invest. And like I said, it'd be nice to let that investment last, as long as possible. Even if, like, okay, in 5 years I'm going to buy a new bow. If you kept that thing nice, and you're going to get more money out of it when you sell it to buy your new bow, So
100%.
It's good to keep the investment as nice as possible. For that's something that I need to do. And I've never thought about relaxing the string, but it makes a lot of sense. Your string's going to last a lot longer, not being under tension. And like I said, you'll be able to get, because you can't get wax inside that. That string's pulled so tight. It seems like it has less tension when it's at full draw than when it's.
It is. No, it definitely is. We're just saying that before you put your wax on it, right?
Yeah.
Press it, relax the strings, put the wax on, and then it can then take it back to tension.
Yeah.
And then when you bring it in the house, you can find any room. Like I because my business is in my basement, I have lack of room, but I have some studs, we'll call them, that I put a bow hanger in, and there's where I hang my bow all year,
Nice, yeah.
And then throughout the year, man, I'm super passionate about this, but we owe this to the deer to not pull out our bow a week before the season and let her rip. Shooting our bow is fun. Like, you can find an indoor league, you can find a spring 3D league, or even grab some friends or whatever. And that's the time where you can tinker and, find a setup that works for you. And, I had somebody come over with this was probably, I want to say maybe a week into the season, and it was a dry fired bow. And we started talking, and he said, yeah, I said, I brought my bow out for the year, right? And forgot to put an arrow in it and dry fired it. And luckily, the limbs were okay. We were able to save it. The string snapped. We put a new string on it and it was fine. But my guy almost took this bow out to hunt it, and it was like the season was here. So
Yeah, that's
I just
crazy.
ask that you spend a little time with your bow. Again, it's a great stress relief, man. You have to concentrate so much that, for me, it helps me with things that are going on outside of my business, outside of work. Our minds are constantly going, right? Life is as stressful as it's always been. It's a great way, good stress reliever, to kind of just calm yourself down, get in the moment, sling some arrows out there, have some fun. Even if it's a couple rounds a night of 4 arrows or something, just go out and shoot your bow. And then now you're not waiting till the last minute to figure out that something is wrong with my bow, and I'm going on a hunt tomorrow, by the way.
Yeah, that's never good. I'm big adamant on that, is situational shots. Try to set up some situational shots.
Yep.
And
I
just
shoot out of the saddle all the time.
yeah, just however you're going to be hunting, try to set it up and situation. Okay, I got a deer standing there, perfect. I got a deer walking. I got a deer trotting, moving your bow.
Yep.
All that definitely helps in the moment. But before we wrap this up, man, where can the people find your product, and where can they find you if they got any questions? They just want to talk some bow setup or
Yeah.
bow strings with you.
Yeah, I appreciate that. So you can visit us on any social media at 330 Archery, and that is the number 3, the letter O, the letter H, and then Archery. And where that comes from is the area code for our phone numbers in this area is 330, which everybody says, hey, my number is 330, blah, 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 blah. So where we came up with that is my Instagram handle for the longest time was 330 with a bow. And, that's kind of where the 330 Archery came from. But so besides all social media outlets at 330 Archery, our website is 330archery.com. Try to keep it simple. You can message us directly on our website. You can message us directly on Facebook, on Instagram, on TikTok, on Twitter, wherever. You're going to get me or my wife every single time. So both of us have notifications on our phone. For any company that you'll probably deal with, you're going to get the quickest response that you've probably ever seen. And we're going to continue to follow up and answer any questions that you have.
All right, man. Well, like I said, I appreciate you coming on.
Absolutely.
And supporting the podcast this year. And I'll be calling you soon. I'm gonna get some strings.
Go, baby.
And you're probably gonna show up hot pink. I'll be like, yeah, I want this, this, and this. You'll be like, all right, I got you.
I got you, bro.
Hot pink twisted with violet purple coming right at you.
Hey, there's nothing wrong with pink, man. I'll tell you what. I built all pink strings on a solid black bow this year. It looked gnarly, man. That flow pink was so bright. It looked great.
Nice. Yeah, I bet you did. I gotta decide what I'm gonna do, but I'll definitely be ordering some soon. And like I said, I appreciate you coming on.
Look forward to it, brother. Absolutely, and thank you for everything that you do. We listen to you every single week, and you've came such a long way, not only as a hunter but a podcaster, man. And we all enjoy listening to you. So thanks for letting me be a part of it. And if I don't get to talk to you for whatever reason, I hope the wife and the kids have a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. And we really look forward to see what you do in 23, man.
Thanks, man. Appreciate that. All right, guys. Well, hopefully you enjoyed this episode chatting with Tony. Hopefully you learned something about 330 Archery and about bowstrings and bow maintenance this off season. If you guys are going to be around ATA and want to meet up, go ahead and shoot me a message. I've already had multiple people message me and ask if I'm going to be there. Shout out to the Born Again Bow Hunting guys. Going to be hanging out with them most of the show, bebopping around with them, talking to a couple companies and enjoying the atmosphere and meet up with some good buddies. But if you're going to be around and want to touch base, let me know. I'll be there. Send me a personal message anywhere. Like always try to do the right thing. Try to leave a legacy, and Whitetail Legacy is out until we're coming in your ear holes next Wednesday, and we're going to be talking EHD.